Being a kid, you usually have the freedom of not having to worry about things like cops, racism, or walking home with a bag of Skittles in your hand. But sadly, we don't all get that freedom, especially black boys. Black boys younger than me had to sit down with their parents for the talk. The talk imposes limits to ensure your safety. It dictates what you do, where you go, how you dress, how you respond, how you move, what you do with your hands, what you don't do with your hands. The talk for boys like me is a rite of passage in the black household of the United States. The ability to be a global citizen has protected me from the talk, and being born a global citizen means being born with the ability to transcend these limits. I have the freedom I should have regardless of my physical appearance. I'm not saying nothing happens. I still get a racial slur once in a while, but I won't let that be an obstacle on my path. I choose to have a limitless life. I skateboard, kayak, surf, and I can go down in the kitchen. You know, things that boys who are not of color can do without worry. But my point is that these are things we should all be able to do without fear. And you may be asking yourself, what's the fear about outdoor sports? But like me, you may not have to be a victim of helicopter parenting. Helicopter parents are so named because, like helicopters, they hover ahead, overseeing every aspect of a child's life, constantly. What does that really look like, you may ask? Well, let me paint a picture. My cousin Aiden comes down to Panama every year to visit, and we always wanted to go to the park around the corner of my neighborhood. There's not a scary urban lot filled with broken bottles and vagrants. This is a picture-perfect park with well-manicured grass with a wooden fort playhouse and swings. For real, this is a large-sized wooden climbing frame that provides hours, at least half an hour, of fun for kids in my neighborhood. There's a slide and a garden hose for hot days. There are climbing walls, a straight ladder, a slanted ladder, and a playhouse with an integrated sand pit. I say all this to say that there's nothing to worry about when you let a kid loose in the park. Anyways, Aiden and I pulled out our bikes and pedaled to the park. My mom, who is a free-range parent, footnote, the opposite of a helicopter parent. Free-range parenting is the concept of raising a child with the spirit of encouraging them to function independently with limited parental supervision. My mom did not think twice about us going. She knew everything would be fine. She knew that if we fell and got hurt, we'd brush ourselves off and carry on. My aunt didn't. My aunt, who had had a talk with my cousin, who was 8 at the time, was scared half to death about him leaving the house without adult supervision. And I guess rightfully so. I mean, they're from Florida, where walking home with a bag of Skittles might prevent you from ever getting back home. My aunt ran to the park and stood there for the hour that we played, because she said that he needs to come back home and did not need to get too comfortable with freedom. There are limits on black boys when we have things like the school-to-prison pipeline that follows black kids into the criminal justice system. There are limits on black boys when they link black men with violence and criminality. That link is extended to boys as young as 5. There are limits when black boys are punished more harshly in school and more likely to be suspended or expelled. There are limits on black boys who are perceived as good athletes, but only in certain sports. And when I tell people that I'm into sports, automatically they think basketball or American football. But my main sport of choice is skateboarding. When I'm skateboarding, I feel free. It helps me clear my mind and order my thoughts. I even noticed that I've been skateboarding as a relief from its online schooling. And it seems to bring things into perspective and allow me to feel more control of other aspects of my life. Weekdays and weekends, there's no other place I like to be than the skate park. When my friends call me, I pack up knowing what's about to happen. I love skateboarding. It's just me and my board. The skate park is like its own community. Everyone helps people out, and sure, there's a pecking order, but it's only determined by how hard you practice and push yourself. To me, skating has become a metaphor for life. Pop shoving. Skating's like life. Sometimes things go wrong when you pivot to the right direction. 50-50. Another example of when you're ramping up to success. When you put a lot of effort to where you get where you want to be, and then you could just cruise. Dropping into the bowl. That's when you're going on a limb, face first, facing your fears. You commit and lean in. And sure, you may fall, but you get back up until you wonder what you ever feared in the first place. Manual. We resist things that may seem easy. We may be tempted to learn all the other tricks, the tricks that come with more difficulty instead of improving our overall balance. We falter in life because we lack balance. I wish that all boys can experience what it feels like to feel limitless on skateboard and use the lessons learned instead of having to have the talk. Thank you.